Hey everyone, this is Eric from Dumb Game Dev. Today we're going to be talking about this asset here called Ragdoll Hit Reaction Manager. And what I've done is come up with a few simple Playmaker actions to help this work with Playmaker. Now, you might be thinking, do I really need this? If you're working with any kind of shooting game, especially whether it's third person or first person, this is a pretty awesome asset, as what it allows you to do is when you shoot a character, it has a natural hit reaction to some type of force, and this allows things to look more natural, as well as it has a full ragdoll functionality where it turns into ragdoll, as well as it has ragdoll to mechanim, which means that it can go to ragdoll and then back to a mechanim state. Now in this tutorial we're just going to cover using Playmaker to raycast or without raycast. I'm not going to cover using colliders specifically, such as bullets with colliders, but we're going to look at raycasting and how to do it without raycasting. So follow along. You can download my Playmaker actions from my GitHub account. Now the link to my GitHub account is just down below in the description for this YouTube video. And again, those are free for you to use. And you do need to pick up the asset though, but at $25 it's a pretty good price. So I have a new project here, and in this project I only have two things added in so far, and that is just Playmaker and the Hit Reaction Manager. Now, one caveat about this Hit Reaction Manager is that you don't want to import it into your actual game. You want to import it into a new project. So listen carefully, import it into a new project because it's going to overwrite your layers and some project settings, and you don't want to do that into your main project. So either back it up and do it in there, or really do it in a new project and just follow out the instructions. And when you do import this into your project, it will actually give you a warning to let you know that, hopefully. But just in case it doesn't, remember that. Okay, so then I've done that and gone ahead and it will have this Ragdoll Manager. And I'm just going to use the demo scene to show you how to set some basic things up. And what we can do is just go into Ragdoll Manager, go into Scenes. I'm going to go into Examples and then go to Raycast Spherecast. So this will show you how to use both the Raycast or the Spherecast with it. And now they've got this script set up. And if you're not a scripting person yourself, you may have a little difficulty to adapt this to working with your game. So that's where Playmaker comes in. Now I'll show you how this works with the script first that it comes with. And so what it allows you to do is just basically touch or tap this character, which would be simulating a shot, and it has a hit reaction. It starts the hit reaction function, hit reaction method. And you can set the amount of force here. With more force, there's more hit reaction. So you can see it's a little bigger, and if it was just like, say, 2, there would be almost no hit reaction here, just a tiny one. Okay, so I'm going to disable this script. We'll just test that to make sure that it's not doing anything, because we don't want it to do anything. So I also am going to disable this canvas so we don't have this message. Okay, so let's do this first without any raycasting, and I'll show you why. And so I'm just going to make a new Playmaker FSM, and I'm going to create an empty and just call this like the Hit Manager. And actually, you know what? I'm going to take one small step back. In this tutorial, I'm not going to show you how to set up the ragdoll itself. This is actually they have a tutorial video for this, so go ahead and watch the tutorial video on how to set this up. The tutorial video covers like a whole bunch of scripting and stuff, so don't worry about that part. If that's not your thing, you can get that part from here. But basically what it is it has the this Ragdoll Manager script, which you're going to use on the main character, and then all the different body parts are added as different elements, and each one of these elements can be hit. So if it's not on this list, it can't be hit. So for example, you can see the hips, the spines, the head, left arm, right arm. These are the parts that can be hit, and they have special colliders set up. Now, below this, we also have something that's important here. Is called the hit reaction tolerance, so 31. So any force over 31, such as 32, let me check each body part. Should be anything over 32, for example, will cause them to actually switch into full ragdoll and like fall over. So we'll see that happen, but that's 31 here. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up our hit manager. And on our hit manager, I've got my actions that I imported from my GitHub, so get those from my GitHub, and it's just in a custom folder. And I've got 3 here so far. There might be more by the time you get this. And it's direction between game objects, mouse pick from main camera, and start hit reaction. So let's just first use the start hit reaction to show you how that works. Now you need to tell it which part is being hit so it knows where. And we don't want to use the owner because the owner is the hit manager. So we want to specify a game object. Now, for example, maybe we want to use the hips, and you have to make sure it has this body collider script and has a collider set up and has a rigid body, etc. So we're just going to grab this hips and put it on here. So now we're hitting the hips, and we need to give it a hit direction, and I'm just going to arbitrarily give one like 333 and give it a hit force of 10. And let's also just put a wait state in here so we can see it happening easier. Oops. So we'll call this first state hit, and then we'll have another state called wait, and we'll add a wait to that. Let's add a 2-second wait to it, and when it's done, we want it to be finished. When the hit's done, we want it to be finished. So the wait state finished, go to this one, go to this one. And every 2 seconds then there should be a hit. So let's push play. Oh. So the force is a little harder than I thought. You can see that he keeps getting hit every 2 seconds as he keeps flying about. So this is all fine and dandy and fun and everything, but it's not very dynamic, right? I mean, we need to be able to choose different body parts and to be shooting from different angles so that we're not always just shooting, statically. So that's fine. So the next action here you want to use is go back down to custom, and we're going to have direction between game objects. Okay, so, and in this case, I'm also going to have another one called set game object. So we can set a variable game object. Okay, so in the game object variable, let's just make a new one called hit body part, and let's give it the body part we want to hit. So let's say we want to use let's use this one. The left leg has a collider on it. It's called left knee. So let's just drag this left leg over to my hit body part. So the hit body part is now the left leg. So let's just close that. So we want to get the direction between the target is the left leg. So the hit body part. And let's add something to the scene to give it the direction. So for example, if you are doing some kind of a shooting game maybe, or a third-person shooter, you might have a gun, right? So I'm going to just make my gun a sphere for now. And it's going to be a small sphere. So this is where the barrel of my gun is in the game, for example. And this might be mounted to your camera or wherever else. Like it could be in your camera right here. So this is the tip of your gun in your game. And let's just call this source. This is where we're shooting from. And maybe I'm going to make this black or something just so I can see it better. Okay. Okay, so we wanted to shoot from here to there. So we go back to our hit manager, Playmaker. So we want to shoot from, the source is this source object, our fake gun. And the target is the hit body part. Now, using this custom action I wrote, you want to get the normalized direction, okay? The direction normalized. So this is basically like a heading. So let's just call this normalized direction. And we're not going to use the regular direction. We don't need it to be every frame. We don't need to get the distance. We just want the direction normalized, okay? So we can close this one down. So now last we have this start hit reaction, and now we have a hit direction for this. So we can choose the normalized direction and say the hit force is 10. So let's hit play. So as you can see, it's hitting with 10 force. So it's not too strong, so let's move this up to 20 force. It's getting stronger. It looks like it's still hitting in the hips. Oh yeah, right. So we have the hit part is still set to the hips. We don't want that. We want this to be this hit body part that's being set here at the top. There we go. Okay, so now you can see the leg is going back in this direction. And if we're in our scene view, and this is the source of our shot, maybe our shot's coming from over here. And you can see it should move slightly more to this side. It goes more to this angle. And we move it all the way over here. You can see the foot's now moving out this way because the shot's going from here to there. So if it's behind, so we can basically have this anywhere we want, and the shot's coming from this direction. So if this is a first-person shooter, for example, we could have this you know, mounted to the camera. I'm always really bad at doing this here. So that's the camera. I think there's a way to do this. Let's just lock this. Lock. Okay, so there. Okay, so there's your gun in your game. And then now it's shooting, okay? So this is how to determine or one good way to determine direction. And now there's different ways to determine the collision, for example, and I'm not going to do collisions in this little tutorial, but I will show you how to raycast. So let's do the mouse pick raycast because that's sort of the easiest way to go. So let's not have a wait state. Let's make this the start state. And we are going to get the action of so mouse, get mouse button down. So this will happen when we hit the mouse. So when we hit the mouse, it will send the event finished and then do our hit. Now we want to be able to pick where we're shooting. We don't want to just be, you know, manually set here. So then what we want to do is I have also set up I suggest using my custom action. It's the easiest way to do this. So I made a custom one called mouse pick from main camera. And now we're going to not use this direction between game objects because we're going to instead use the direction from the mouse to the main camera to decide the angle of the shot. So we can leave the ray distance. So we want to store the game object that we're clicking. So we're going to store this as hit body part. So we no longer need this set game object. We can remove that. And also we want to get is the store the heading. Okay, so this is the normalized direction. So this isn't on the ecosystem or anything yet. You just have to get it from my GitHub. The normal mouse pick doesn't have this heading or direction, so I've added these in. Okay, so then that's it. We basically just need this mouse pick, and then we store the body part and this normalized direction as the heading, feed it into the start hit reaction, and then just push play. And so it's just waiting, and then when we click, so now you can see that it does this. Now, let's see here. It did get jammed. I'll have to look into this. So it seems like if I misclicked, it doesn't go back to the next state. Okay, so I'm just thinking about how I could fix this while I'm recording this, and let's add an extra action here. So we want to, let's just copy this mouse pick event and put onto its own state and remove it from the hit one. So we only want to trigger the hit if we've clicked onto something that can take a hit, right? Otherwise, we get what we were just looking at. So let's finish to this state, to the mouse pick. And then once mouse pick is finished, we'll go to the hit state. But let's just break this up even one more just to make it easier to see. Let's do a simple tag check. Tag check. And then hit. Okay, so we still have our mouse pick event and we hit a body part. We need to see if we hit a body part. So let's check our character, and he has, oh, we're locked here. Okay, let's give him a tag. He is the NPC. And so we're storing this game object as a hit body part. Let's get all these in here, change them to NPC. Okay. So let's do some kind of a tag check here. Get tag. Okay, so what object we want to tag check? We're going to get the hit body part. And new variable, we're just going to call it tag. Let's just do a tag. Do we have a tag compare? Oh, okay, let's just see. Game object tag compare. That's even easier. So what's the game object is the hit one. The tag is NPC. If it's true, it goes to finished. If it's false, we make a new event, just call it false. And the false one can go back to the beginning to wait to see. Let's adjust these over and over again. Okay. So maybe that will work. Let's try. I have no idea. So seems like every once in a while we're clicking on that character, but it's missing the tag. So, I mean, it's not a perfect solution here. Okay, so I see some of these are still untagged. It's probably the reason why. We'd have to sit through and like maybe tag all of them. Okay, after a little more thinking, it's definitely the tag. So either you have to go through and tag every single little item, which is with a collider, which is really annoying. So instead, let's try and use the get root. So instead of checking the tag on the object that we clicked, let's use the get root to say we clicked on this object called hit body part, and then we're going to store the root as body parent. So instead, we're just going to check the body parent. So what we're basically doing is going up, 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 all the way to the top one. So make sure that your top level action has the right tag. Up, 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 and then it should compare for that object. So there we go. Now we're not missing any hits here. Okay, solution found. Awesome. Now we saw that the hit reaction tolerance is 31. So let's try and set this to a little higher hit. So let's just set it to like 33. And now if we hit him, you can see that he in fact goes into ragdoll mode and doesn't so he's not getting up from ragdoll. We'll have to use a separate action to trigger that back up. So that will be another tutorial. Now if you wanted to do this by raycasting, let's just, we won't use the mouse pick here. We will remove this. And I mean, I'm not going to actually set up the whole thing. I'll just show you the basic idea. But if you want to raycast, we set up a raycast from, which game object. So maybe, for example, my source game object. Then we set the position, and then we basically store the hit object just the same as the hit body part. And there's no difference there. And then we tag check it and stuff like that. Now what we do still need is the normalized direction, and this raycast doesn't get you this information. So we can just use my custom action that I wrote that we showed before. This one called direction between game objects. And we basically say whatever we have raycast from, which is our source. In this case, would be our gun. Oopsie. Would be our gun, for example, there. And then the target is whatever the raycast hits. So it would be the hit body part. And then we normalize that, and then we store the normalized distance in the direction, and then there we go. So this is basically the same thing. So you just need the raycast, and to see what the raycast hits, and store that into the hit body part, and it basically follows the exact same pattern. So you really don't need to change much up from there. So that's basically how we can use the mouse pick, the raycast, or just some general method of object to object. So again, this doesn't cover the collision or some of the other functions that come with these Ragdoll Hit Manager, but we'll try and look at some of those in some other tutorials as I make some more custom actions for them. Don't forget to join us on our Slack channel. So this is a Playmaker Slack channel, and you can see the link below. It's a free chat, just basically between some Playmaker people, as well as I have a Patreon account if you want to pledge a few dollars a month to help develop some more free Playmaker actions. Almost all my actions are free on my GitHub account. You can see them there for VRTK and Text Mesh Pro and some other useful Playmaker actions.